Hi everyone, my name is Melissa. My channel here is Melissa_Dunn6, same as my TikTok and Instagram. So make sure to follow me on those platforms as well. I love all things makeup and beauty, so if you are also a makeup beauty lover, feel free to subscribe, like, share, and leave me some comments down below. I'd love to interact with you a bit more. So first off, excuse my voice. I am recovering from a pretty bad cold. My voice is still not 100%, a little nasally, a little congested, but I wanted to film this video, so here we are. So technically, spring is here, even though in New Jersey we're not feeling it yet. We have about 30-degree weather. But in today's video, I just want to share 10 palettes I pulled from my collection that just remind me of spring. When I see them, I think of spring. I think of the warmer days, the longer days, going to the park, hearing the birds chirp, all that sort of fun spring type of stuff. Spring and summer are my favorite seasons. So yeah, I am super excited so that we can start feeling that warmer weather, at least where I am. So let's get into the 10 palettes I chose for this video. And I do just want to apologize in advance. Some of them may not be available any longer. You may be able to find them on like the secondhand market, like Mercari. I know a lot of times people resell their eyeshadow palettes. So if one of these you really need, maybe check out one of those retailers. But yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, when I think of spring, I'm thinking of sunshine, the park, the green grass, the beautiful flowers that are starting to bloom, the birds chirping. I have a 4-year-old son, so we spend a lot of time going to parks, going to different farms or what have you. So that is really where my mind is when I think of spring. So yeah, so I'm thinking like lots of softer, colorful colors, sunshine, parks, greenery, all that sort of stuff, which will kind of explain the palettes I chose for these top 10. This is in no particular order, and if the palette is still available, I'll list them all down below and a link where you can find it. First on my list is from Viseart. This is the Paris Love Letter. It's very small, very compact. You just lift the tab there, pull it out, you get a mirror, and you get 12 shades here that are removable if you wanted to put them into a different palette or rearrange them. But this one just screams spring to me. You've got a lot of like oranges, corals, neutral tones, and then you've got like a pop of purple and green. They're not overly saturated colors, very soft. If you're familiar with Viseart, you know they do phenomenal mattes and their shimmers tend to be a bit softer. So this is the first palette. When I see, I just think of spring. It's very soft. That pop of green and that pop of purple just remind me of the plants and the flowers that are going to be blooming. So this is a very beautiful palette. Love this color story. Love their formula. Highly recommend if you can get your hands on it. Next palette is Tiny Marvels from Sydney Grace. This is a collab they did with Mel Thompson. She was a YouTuber, but unfortunately she has passed away. Very sadly, she was a phenomenal makeup artist. But first of all, look at the outer cover. If that's not spring, I don't know what is. I believe she did this with her tattoo artist. It was inspired by the tattoo she had. But you've got insects, you've got like these muted, more colorful story, like the greens and the purples. But let me show you the inside. So this is what you get on the inside. The mattes and shimmers of Sydney Grace are just top notch. Better than, I'm going to say it, better than anything you'll find at Sephora and Ulta, if I'm being honest. The foiled metallic shades. Look at that. And then the mattes just are super pigmented and blend out super easily. I love that green color. So beautiful. You still got your fair amount of neutral shades. So if you just want to do like the neutral and a pop of color, this is just a very wearable, fun palette. So I don't know about where you guys are, but you know the saying like spring showers. What's that? I don't remember the song. It's like a hit song. But there's a lot of rain and sunny but gloomy days during spring. That's why I pulled out the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. So you're getting more of a cool toned color story, very romantic. But it's got a lot of like grays and mauves. And I don't know, it just makes me think of like spring rainy days. Like it can be a little bit gray, but you know, like the flowers shine through. Um, yeah, so I don't know. This gives me like on a rainy day, spring sort of vibes. That's why I chose this palette. And on the opposite spectrum of that are the very sunny days, you know, when you can almost go to the beach. That's why I pulled out the Sun-Kissed Summer palette from Violet Voss. I think this one's gonna go either spring or summer, but I chose to pull it out. So for spring, got the pops of yellows to represent the sun, some reds to represent the flowers that are gonna be blooming, dirt, you know, like dandelions. That's what this is giving me. And Violet Voss puts out great eyeshadow palettes. I think people have forgotten they're still around, but I would highly recommend if you, especially if you find them on sale, I'd pick up a few. Their formula is really pigmented and easy to work with. This one I actually used for the look I have on today. This is Garden of Juvia's from Juvia's Place. It is one of their newer palettes. It's so beautiful. Like the mattes are super pigmented, not patchy. Sometimes these sort of mattes, when you lay them down and start to blend them, they just like disappear into nothing. Not with these. They stay down. They're true to color. The shimmers are so beautiful. And you're getting like multi-chromes for a really good price point. So if you're someone that's into like a more saturated pastel and you're into like duochrome eyeshadows, but you don't want to spend $20 per eyeshadow, I think this palette is phenomenal. I don't believe this one is around anymore, and it makes me very sad. This is the first ever palette I picked up from Glamlite. This is the Ice Cream Dream palette. They used to do very quirky packaging. So we've got like the sprinkles and the ice cream cone there, and they do like move around. But what you get is a giant mirror in here, and look at this. So beautiful. I think they should bring this back. Because the formulas in here are just phenomenal. Right, and this one is similar to the Juvia's Place, but even more punchy, like even more bright. You've got a bunch more mattes and a bunch of shimmer shades. And again, the formula in this palette is so good. I haven't tried Glamlite after this, so I don't know how their formula compares. I imagine it's still just as good. I've been meaning to try more, but it's just one of those brands I forget to place orders with. I don't know. But yeah, if you have this in your collection, you know this is like a beautiful, bright, more colorful rainbow palette, I guess we could consider this. This one I'm not going to be able to pronounce for you, so I'm just going to show you. This is from Glam Shop. They are a Polish-based brand. I don't know if this palette is available anymore, but if you are a green eyeshadow lover, this palette is so beautiful. You don't get too many matte, well, 4 mattes, but they're all varying greens. The shimmers, oh my goodness. The shimmers in here are so beautiful. And I pulled this one out for spring, like I said. This is where we're seeing plants like come back to life. Everything is budding. Trees are growing their leaves back. People are replanting their gardens. So I see a lot of green, especially before the flowers begin to bloom. You're seeing a lot of green first. So that's why I wanted to pull this one out. The formula is beautiful. The mattes aren't my favorite, I won't lie. The mattes in here are a little bit dry and chalky, but the shimmers are saving grace. Another more rainbow sort of palette. This is the Lost in Los Angeles by BH Cosmetics. This is still around if you guys didn't know. I know they're supposed to have like a revamping, but I haven't really seen anything. So hopefully they can come back because BH is a great affordable brand. But very similar to the Juvia's Place and the Glamlites. You've got like these brighter pastels. Like they're not quite pastels, but they're not like super saturated colors either. It's not really a rainbow palette, but you know, you get in your pops of color in there. The shimmers in here are somewhere between like the Glamlite and Juvia's Place. Not as soft as the Juvia's Place, but not as intense as the Glamlite. The mattes in here are phenomenal. BH does good mattes. Doesn't bring a mirror, so that may be a deterrent for some people. It doesn't bother me too much. I have plenty of mirrors everywhere. But yeah, if you want a more affordable, sort of more saturated pastel palette, I think this is one to look out for. Next up is the Wildflower palette from Lethal Cosmetics. This is another one where you can remove the eyeshadows if you want to like move them into another palette. You did get a mirror here. Like, look how beautiful. I think Lethal has one of my most favorite formulas. The mattes are beautiful. The shimmers are beautiful. I think they're pretty slept on, honestly. So you probably see a common theme here. So these are like pastels, but with a little bit more kick because like your typical pastels don't really show up on a lot of people. You've got to put down a white base for them to like really do anything for you, or when you try to blend them, they blend to nothing. So something with a little bit more saturation is just easier to work with. And again, like when I think of spring, I'm seeing the flowers, I'm seeing the trees, I'm seeing kids running around playing. So it's just a bit more colorful than I think we associate it with like Easter and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think of more color. But like Easter and tulips and all that type of thing are still big during the spring season. So the last palette I pulled out is the Retro Glam palette from Natasha Denona. So another one you can pop out the shadows. That's always like a driving point for people who like to create their own color stories. But here you're getting mostly greens with a few, what would we call these? Like dusty rose sort of shades. So this one is definitely more on the pastel end of things, not as bright as the other ones I had mentioned. I think the formula in here is beautiful. If you like Natasha Denona, I don't think you'd be disappointed. I know a lot of people didn't like this palette, but I find it to be quite beautiful. Yes, it is a bit redundant with some of the shades. Some of them can look very similar on the eye, so maybe if she had a little bit more variation in here, people would have liked it a little bit more. But I really like these sort of like more mucky looking pastels. They're just very attractive to me. So that is why I am really drawn to this palette, and that is why it is the last one I chose for this top 10 list. And those were the 10 palettes I chose from my overall collection that just scream spring to me. I can't wait for spring to get here, especially the warmer end of spring. The beginning is still pretty cold because winter is just lurking and doesn't want to go away. Not looking forward to the cold, rainy days. I could do without that. But those nice, like 60 to low 70 days, I cannot wait for. So, yeah, let me know in the comments if you like any of these palettes. Do you have any of them? What palette in your collection screams spring to you? I'd love to know in the comments because I'm always shopping for something new. So, Again, some of these palettes may not be available, but I will try to list whatever I can down below. And if there's an asterisk, it's an affiliate link. I'd make a small commission off of that. If that makes you uncomfortable, you can just shop directly from the retailer. And to close off this video, I just want to thank anyone who takes the time to watch my videos and support my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share. If you are interested in any more content from me, I'd love to grow this channel a bit more, get to know you all a bit more. I want to have a little community here. Again, don't forget to leave me some comments down below. What is your go-to color story or palette for spring? Did you see any of the palettes that you may want to add to your collection for spring? Did you not agree with one of the palettes I chose? Yeah, let me know. I'm open to all sorts of comments and criticism. But yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.